Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
To Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Our guest today is Adam. So Adam, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
I am Adam Kroft, and I'm currently residing and living in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I am the founder and CEO of Redthread, a creative advertising agency.
Awesome. So I'm just curious more about your story. How did you kind of get into starting this business?
Yeah, the entrepreneurship blood started pretty early. So I grew up in the Chicagoland area. That's where I knew Dan from. My first business and first passion was selling sneakers. So I don't know if you remember, there was a whole genre of fad at Stevenson High School where they bought and sold and traded Nikes. And so I got into that whole world of the sneaker business. I was fully convinced I was going to be a sneakerhead and a shoe store owner at some point, selling and trading Nikes, Jordans, Adidas, etc. And then eventually, when Nike moved all their shoe sales to online, my business of buying, selling, trading the shoes slowly fell apart. And so my Facebook group that I was selling these sneakers to of kids nationwide in the mid 2000s slowly collapsed. And it was right around the time I was supposed to go to college. So my favorite uncle in the world's you should become a Cornhusker. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. Why would I go frolic in the cornfields? And so I took a visit out to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I fell in love with the city, fell in love with the people, fell in love with the culture. And here I am 15 years later. I call myself a shy Braskan now. It's a nice hybrid. But in college, I had a lot of jobs, internships, worked for the Huskers as kind of assistant creative director, worked for the Big Ten Network as a campus marketing manager, worked for an agency called Arch Rival as a brand ambassador manager. They have cool accounts like Adidas, Red Bull. I worked for an agency called Bailey Lauerman, which does Adidas, or not Adidas, excuse me, VeggieTales, Panda Express, Cuties, Oranges, and also worked for an agency in Chicago called the San Jose Group. And after my experiences the client side of marketing and the advertising side, I figured, and at the ripe age of 21 years old, I got cocky enough to say, I'm just going to freelance before I go back to Chicago and work for the Big Ten Network. And that freelance business started gaining momentum to small mom and pop shops, then to larger nonprofits, to then bigger businesses, to now 11 and a half years later, I have a team of about 30 individuals that work on all different shapes and sizes of marketing and advertising campaigns. So that's the quickest, most succinct way to describe to where I've been to where I'm at today.
For sure. And I guess in terms of obviously freelancing is one thing, but to go from there, I want to take this and actually hire people and turn this into an actual business. What did that process kind of look like for you?
Can I curse?
Sure, yeah.
It was a shit show. I mean, it was I have a degree from the College of Journalism with especially in advertising public relations. Believe it or not, they don't teach you about what a W-9 is, how to prepare for taxes, how to build a maternity policy, how to build a culture. It's very the practice of advertising and marketing. It's not the implementation of owning a business in advertising and marketing, because most people usually don't jump in head first and say, I'm going to start a business. But it turned out that the adventure of just jumping in head first and fighting through that shit show gave me my MBA by trial by fire. And it literally just taught me so many lessons. I mean, we probably should have been sued multiple times when we started, just not because of being bad people, just pure ignorance. Because there's so many laws and things you have to follow that I was not aware of when starting a business venture. So I learned a lot along the way, and I can't even pick out one specific piece. But if you want to start a business, I encourage you to just have a 101 understanding about the legalities of running a business.
For sure. And I guess in the early days, you were saying that you were working with smaller clients and you kind of went, up market. What did that process kind of look like for you? And what kind of industries were you serving now? And what are you serving now back then? I guess who are you serving now in 2025?
Yeah. My first pitch was for a small jewelry store in downtown Lincoln where I'm can I do your marketing and advertising? He's sure, what can you do? I'm what do you need? And it was just kind of can we do trade? I mean, I remember getting a burrito shop and I'm I'll take trade in burritos and cash. I got the place called the College of Hair Design, which teaches people to become barbers. I got trade and free haircuts and cash on the table. So it was it's a lot of trade because I don't think people took me seriously. And I don't know if I took myself seriously at that time. And now evolving that a decade plus later, I mean, I've learned what it means to be yes, I need to exchange dollars for my services. I can't take free burritos anymore. I personally would love that. If you're a burrito company, give me a shot. Maybe we'll work something out. I think when I evolved to kind of where we're at today, a lot of our work is in, I call the service based businesses. So when I say service based, like think of like blue collar work, like construction, HVAC, foundation repair, like really the kind of the hardworking concrete, like people of the United States, like they need help with recruiting individuals. They need help with telling their story. They've generally not touched their website in 10 to 15 years because it hasn't been a priority. And so to like start to like build like marketing campaigns that are generally performance oriented, where we're trying to generate leads, business opportunities for them, awareness growth, all that stuff has really led to kind of the size we are today and the reputation we have today.
So do you guys just focus on the local market, or do you guys go nationwide as well?
We have nationwide clients, but usually that relationship starts with something like kind of a Midwestern connection. Like for example, like we've done some branding projects for Google that I can't talk much about because I still have an NDA. And that was through a connection that I made through someone I knew in Nebraska. We've done work for Marcus Theaters, right? It's a big movie theater chain that's out of Mequon, Wisconsin. They have a location in Nebraska, but they're truly like more like Midwest region nationwide. We have a lot of clients that have like nationwide presences, but usually have some connection to the Nebraska market is where my kind of network starts, I'd say. And as we continue to grow, like I'd love to obviously branch outside of that. We usually just take those businesses on like a call basis. Like right now we're pitching an attorney group out of Mississippi that heard good things about us, right? We got referred to them. We're pitching a construction company out of Oklahoma. We got referred to them. I actually have an office in Dallas if you want to appreciate that. So like, I'm not calling these people or cold calling. It's just more like we have our market, we have our business, we have our revenue in Nebraska. And then people seem to find us just based upon reputational success. That's been cool.
For sure. And obviously, I mean, trends are always changing. So like, what did the earlier services look like back when you started compared to nowadays?
When I first started, it really went from like really like high level, like creative brand storytelling. Like if you remember like the Air of the Branding video where you had like the super emotional, tear jerking, like exciting roller coaster of emotions that you followed as you went through a video production. So like really we're one of the few agencies that could do video in-house that also had a digital marketing team to it, that had a website team to it. But like really we were known as like almost a video agency first and foremost. And as we've kind of grown, a lot of I feel like marketing has turned into like dollars in, dollars out. What are our KPIs and what are actual success metrics? So a lot of our work has gone from like really emotional, great storytelling branding videos and like even just brand like campaigns to like dollars in, dollars out. What's our cost per lead, right? What's our cost per acquisition, right? If I'm spending $1 on digital ads here, on Google ads here, what's our actual like success metric of how many leads do we generate through that funnel? So it's lost a lot of the, I call it the weird, wacky, creative fun. We still get those projects. We do a lot with an internet service provider here in Nebraska that has like a nationwide presence called Allo, ALLO. And we do a lot of their branding videos, but we don't do their digital marketing because I believe they do that in-house. So we still get those projects that I get to reminisce on the good old days.
For sure. And obviously, I mean, nowadays, every single agency is using AI. So I guess like, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, the AI tsunami's upon us if it's not already like past us. Right now, the biggest tool we're using it for is we use it a lot for SEO services, right? Like content creation, just website auditing, and just probably the full SEM gamut. Is your audience a lot of digital marketers?
Yes,
Can
yeah.
I use these lingos?
Yeah.
Okay, so like a lot of the SEM world is like full scale, like how do we implement AI to learn quickly and make changes and also build keyword analysis on that scale. Whereas on the creative side, we're almost using it as like not necessarily a brainstorming partner, but almost like a reviewing proofer type solution. Because I feel like one of the positions we really considered hiring at one point that I've seen other agencies hire is just a proofer, right? Someone who literally just like takes all the creative and says, is this spell checked correctly? Is this on brand? Is this strategic, right? On brand, strategic, all those big pieces. And actually taking that like strategy and morphing that into like hey, here's like a solution that says, are you following that checklist? Are you doing everything we should to be successful? And if the answer is yes, ad goes out. So that's really where I want to like start and like with AI, and we're slowly infusing it more into the business. And it's been one of our key like strategy goals for 20.
For sure. And I guess for paid ads, like what channels do you guys focus on?
A lot of it's, I'd say specifically, a lot of the Google Display Network has been our solution for conversion. Obviously, as AI search becomes prevalent, we're still trying to optimize for those pieces. Also looking at like a lot of the social media channels. We're using those as more brand building tools rather than conversion tools. From our experience, which I can't can't comment on everyone's, like our conversions on like social have slowly started to drop, whereas Google seems to be our solution for all this. And so with that being said, I really feel like we're focusing on kind of those two channels the most. And also as we do video, we look at OTT, we look at just like obviously YouTube pre-roll. It's really just a lot of different pieces that all come together to help formulate a full comprehensive campaign.
And do you see your clients now getting leads from ChatGPT, and like how do you optimize for that?
Oh man, it's through right. The best solution we're seeing right now is writing. I call it long. It's ironic because I mean, when the 2000s happened, I mean, blogs were everything. Now it feels like blogs and content writing are almost becoming irrelevant tool to connect to what is modern search practices, right? Because when you have I'm trying to give you an example, like if you have a blog post that says, what does it mean to be the best internet provider in Nebraska, and talks about what it means to service our customers, make sure our prices are fair, so on and so forth. And then when AI search is looking for, like, if somebody goes, what's the best internet provider for my location, Nebraska? I just moved in here, and AI can pull from that already optimized content that's tagged correctly and optimized correctly. That becomes a very easy solution, a very easy layup to make sure that we're one of the top searches, whether it be through Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, so on and so forth.
What about...
So that's our strategy.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this by any means, but we're learning a lot every single day.
Are you guys seeing things from Reddit? Because I mean, I know that ChatGPT is pulling from Reddit as well.
Reddit has a phenomenal SEO, like engine. We've been messing. Reddit is so good at sniffing out like bullshit branded content. Is probably the best way to describe it. Like there's a conversation on Reddit about what was the best foundation repair company. And if you're not familiar with that industry, that's one of the wildest, most aggressive marketing and advertising industries I've ever seen. And as we posted, like as we looked through Reddit, someone's like, what company should I use? I'm like, how can I post something without being caught? And we said, our team, our creative team's like, do not do this. Like, you can upvote people, you can stay behind the scenes, but you cannot post something because, like, God forbid they figure out that you're a brand. Like, I mean, like, here comes like the tidal wave of aggressive Redditors being like, we're going to ruin your life. So
Right.
we use voting as a solution, but less like posting, because if you get caught, you're in trouble. We've used Reddit advertising before, which has been successful for one of our aviation clients. That's been good. But that was more of a paid ad rather than actual like
Right.
organic, like ask Reddit type question.
For sure. And obviously you've been in business for some time. So what was like one of the biggest like challenges that you faced, while being in business?
Biggest challenges. I mean, probably just learning. Biggest challenge. I mean, there's like hundreds. Which one can I list off the most? To me, it was really like understanding where our product market fit was. And what I mean by that is one of the questions I got asked during every state of the company is like, what's our niche? What's our niche? What's our niche? Because there's so many agencies that are like, we are the marketing company for law firms. We are the marketing company for HVAC companies. We're the marketing company for blank, right? I mean, I worked at 2 agencies that kind of had that niche, right? Like Arch Rival, we worked for like, it's just youth marketing. So if you're like under the age of, if you're Gen Z or Generation Alpha, like that's the agency you want to hire if you're just trying to win over that generation. The agency I worked in Chicago called the San Jose Group does like a lot of like Hispanic oriented marketing, right? They had the White Sox as one of their clients because they realized the South Side of Chicago had a large Hispanic population that really wanted to drive people to the game. So they got hired by the Sox. So I think that was a lot of our bigger questions going forward, is like, what's our niche? What's our niche? What's our niche? And I felt always pressured to answer that question until the point I realized like we have a really, really good niche of building solutions through performance marketing. It doesn't have to be industry or like demographic specific. So I almost answer that question through kind of our service base rather than, industry specific. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So really just kind of defining that through servicing was like, I mean, that took me 10 years to figure out. I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
I don't have all the answers for all those pieces.
Right. So you were saying, just from your experience, you feel like, people, just to your point, they have different perspective. Like, oh yeah, like that you have to niche down. But you're saying that it doesn't really make as much sense because, you're good at paid media or just creative strategy, and it's like pretty much relevant across industries.
100%. I mean, there's a great opportunity to make a lot of money in an advertising marketing business if you're like, we're the company that does this really well. We go up against those companies a lot, and I mean, they have a lot of those answers already like put together. Like if we're doing an ad campaign for like personal injury attorneys, right? If our personal injury attorneys ask a question, who are also one of the biggest marketing category spenders, like, what's your average cost per acquisition, right? I'm like, well, I could tell you about Nebraska, but I don't know necessarily the answer for Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, Colorado, because it varies. It totally
Right.
varies based on environmental factors and obviously cost per impression, cost per click, the different platforms. I mean, it's not a black and white answer, whereas one company that does this really well can do that exceptionally well forever and always.
For sure. And I'm sure it even varies, city by city. I mean, multiple large cities in Nebraska, you have Omaha as well. So do you kind of focus
Yeah.
like on that market too, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of big business in Omaha. We work with a very large bank, very large car dealership, very large real estate group and hospitality group up there. I wish we had more small businesses up there because we can still take on a lot of small businesses. Like I talk about our enterprise clients a lot because that's the names that people recognize. But I mean, one of my favorite projects we're working on right now is for an app. The app's called Mission Accomplished. It's for a business out in Hemingford, Nebraska, which you're not supposed to know where that is because it's like a panhandle, little top northwest corner of Nebraska. And I think Hemingford, Nebraska has like probably population 300 people or so,
Right.
something like that, like an absurd number where you're like, Dan, you can tell people how many people we graduate with in our high school. And you hear like, they graduate with 7,
Right.
like in their graduating class. Like it's absurd. We graduate with like 1,200.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And you're like 7, like, okay, that's crazy. But to watch like a small business like that start to build up their brand and also like relate to us from like me personally, because they focus on helping kids, parents with neurodivergent kids, like kids with ADHD. And as a proud kid with ADHD, diagnosed, by the way, it's really cool to watch it all come full circle. So, I mean, we'll have a conversation with any client. I can tell you if they're a good fit or not.
Makes sense. So if you could go back in time to before you started this business, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
I think I'll answer this with my biggest piece of regret. The only regret I had, and this is coming from someone who started a business that truly like his business is operating in now at 21 years old, is I wish I started sooner because I knew I could do it. I was just terrified of everything I didn't know. And I was so worried about like, would I fail epically? What would I say to the client? How to prepare? I mean, really at the age of 20 years old or so, when you're early 20s, even late like teens, like you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I really do mean that. And so my only regret and something I wish I knew earlier is somebody said, Adam, just do it. Because I could have done this at probably 19 years old. And I think to myself, if I had 2 more years of Redthread under my belt now, I'd be in a really great place.
For sure. And if somebody's watching this show and if they wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or socials? I guess best ways to get in contact.
Yeah. Simple is our website's redthreadads.com. So Redthread is singular, ads, ADS is plural. So it looks like Redthread Dads, almost spelled out. And then also, if you just want to DM me, it's just Adam Kroft, one word. Last name is spelled Kroft. So DM me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I can't think of anything else. I'm not going to give out my cell phone number on this phone.
Awesome. Well, Adam, thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course.